Glacier in Alaska threatens the state capital with flooding. In the tropics, Aaron will soon become the season's first hurricane.
Anywhere from a mid to high-end Category 3 or maybe even a low-end Category 4.
The weather is not cooperating, with some firefighters battling wildfires.
It is too soon to tell when containment efforts could really ramp up here.
And water worries out west as Lake Mead continues to shrink.
What can possibly be done to reverse this, and how did it get to this point?
From our nation's capital, this is the National Weather Desk.
Good morning and welcome to the National Weather Desk. I'm Angela Brown. Tropical Storm Aaron is still on path to become the first hurricane of the Atlantic season. The storm is now spinning in the Atlantic, and while it's not likely to make landfall in the U.S., it will bring significant rip currents first to Puerto Rico and then the East Coast. Here's meteorologist Riley Blackwell.
We're behind the video.
We have Tropical Storm Aaron still at 45 miles per hour. Looks a little bit better than it did yesterday morning, but overall it still doesn't look fantastic, moving to the west at 20 miles an hour. And the National Hurricane Center still forecasting this to be a Category 1 hurricane by late Thursday night, early Friday morning, but a major hurricane by sometime Sunday or Monday with winds upwards of 115 miles per hour. Before making a fairly sharp northward turn before going any further off to the west. This is Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic. Even though they still could have some impacts from that system, more significant impacts are more so expected for the island of Bermuda as the system takes that very sharp right turn. Bermuda likely going to be in the impact zone of this, anywhere from a mid to high-end Category 3 or maybe even a low-end Category 4.
And meteorologist Christina Ernie takes a closer look at where we are right now in the hurricane season. She posted about it on TikTok.
Well, things are starting to ramp up a little bit in the Atlantic Basin as far as hurricane season goes. But many of you might be wondering, why so late are we active this year? Short answer, it's not that unusual. Yes, hurricane season typically runs from June 1st through November 30th. But the most active period for tropical development is through the final few months of that stretch. You can see where we're at today and look at the tropical storms, hurricanes, and major hurricanes that we see develop after this point. Actually, September 10th is technically the climatological peak of hurricane season in the Atlantic Basin. We are looking ahead, though, over the next couple days as development of Tropical Storm Aaron. Of course, there's going to be more coming along, several waves of development coming off of Africa. We've been battling what's called the Saharan air layer for much of the season, which slowed down development.
And a state of emergency is in effect in parts of Tennessee after heavy rain caused flash flooding last night. More than 6 inches of rain fell at Chattanooga's airport. All that water quickly flooded roads and homes. Swift water rescue teams were out using inflatable boats to save people trapped in their homes and their cars. One first responder carried a woman on his back, you're looking at it here, after an SUV was stuck on Interstate 24. That highway was shut down because of flooding, but has since reopened. Here's another shot of the highway. Many cars are covered in water, even as that truck tried to pass. As a viewer sent us this video to our station there as well. As she was showing the flooding in her neighborhood, she panned over just in time to catch that massive tree falling near a house. More rain could fall later today. A flood watch remains in effect for the region through tonight. And residents of Juneau, Alaska are urged to evacuate ahead of the potential record flooding. Rainwater and snowmelt dammed by Alaska's Mendenhall Glacier are starting to flow downstream towards the capital. The crest is expected later today. The glacier is about 12 miles from the city, which has a population of 30,000. Though this isn't the first time flooding from the glacier has been a concern. Several homes were swept away over the past decade. Now, experts say the water melting off the glacier is a result of climate change. Low humidity and strong winds are raising concerns about wildfire concerns out west. Red flag warnings stretch from Colorado and Wyoming into Washington state. That's where the Bear Gulch fire has been burning for 38 days, covering over 5,000 acres. This morning is just at 3% contained. Tyler Cunnington spoke with officials about the current conditions.
For the last few days, these are the areas where the fire has just been slowly spreading.
Ground crews focusing on keeping homes and communities nearby safe with preventative work while helicopters rain from above.
So this is a real area of concern for bucket drops, and essentially trying to keep the fire from moving this way any more than it already has.
Now, an air quality alert issued for Mason County residents through Friday. The haze clearly seen blanketing the usually scenic Lake Cushman. Those closest to the fire lines advised of, quote, very unhealthy and even hazardous air particles from the blaze.
The smoke usually settles in the evenings especially, so the people who live around the lower elevations in the valleys and stuff will definitely experience pretty severe smoke, at least for tonight, tomorrow. Lately we've been having some issues with bees. I don't know if it's just this particular area, but we have had a lot of bee stings as well.
Unique challenges for a unique fire. In fact, the largest wildfire on the Olympic Peninsula, officials say, since the 1950s.
This is a new type of fire that we're seeing here in pretty unprecedented conditions. All the teams that have been here before, we're doing the best that we can.
And with the high heat conditions today, as well as the smoke expected throughout the rest of the week, officials say it is too soon to tell when containment efforts could really ramp up here.
The number of people under heat alerts nationwide is at its lowest level of the week. Most of those impacted live in Southern California and Nevada, where temperatures could rise to 110 degrees or higher. Now, people there, they're used to the heat. That's not the case in Maine. Vacationers go there to escape the heat, and many people live there have no air conditioning. Brad Rogers has more.
Bethany Clark and her family are staying at a camp this week on China Lake with only fans to keep them cool.
No air conditioning, no. We usually come to Maine to escape the heat from Philadelphia and the humidity, but I feel like we maybe brought it with us, and I'm sorry about that.
She brought her girls to play at a park in Augusta, only to find the playground in the sun was too hot for anyone to enjoy. Shade was saving families in Lewiston. The Browns have one air conditioner. Many others in this neighborhood don't have any.
We got an air conditioner in the house. It cools off one room.
They left Florida for cooler summers in Maine, but even when it's this hot out, they say they can't afford to keep their air conditioner running nonstop.
We run it like 8, 9 o'clock in the morning until like 3, 4 in the afternoon.
It gets awful sticky, that's for sure. But if you bring plenty of water, you get ready for it. I guess it's better than winter.
Yeah. A dust devil in western New York is getting a lot of attention this week. We first showed you this video yesterday. Youth baseball players cleared the field as the dust devil unexpectedly arrived. It spun around for a short time before finally dissipating. Meteorologist John Gum explains how dust devils form and why they typically appear in the summer.
What happens is that we begin to see hot air rising on that dirt baseball field. The dark dirt soaks up the sunshine and the ground gets really hot, and that hot air near the ground starts to rise up in the sky. Now, as that happens, the air rises, we get an area of low pressure that actually forms at the surface. So as the air rises, low pressure's at the surface, and we get a counterclockwise circulation there. Well, as that continues on, this thing just kind of starts spinning even more and more, and that circulation increases more and more, and we get what we call a little dust devil that forms there on the ground. And this is something that just feeds into itself. So as this thing continues, it just sustains itself. Dust and debris is picked up and thrown up into the sky with these things. Eventually, though, the circulation breaks down. Why does it break down? Well, it starts to suck in some cooler air, and that cooler air gets picked up, eventually disrupts the circulation, and they go away. But these are common in the summer months, especially across areas that get hotter, dark surfaces where you have a lot of dirt, a lot of dust, and it picks that dust up, spins it around, and forms what looks to be a mini tornado.
Coming up on the National Weather Desk, we'll head to the Gulf Coast of Mississippi to learn about a hurricane-resistant home and the storm chaser who built it, and will help you better understand fog formation.
I'm meteorologist Charlie Lopresti with a look at the Northeast. The heat remains the big weather story in the Northeast today. Look for air temps in the upper 80s and low 90s. We'll have elevated humidity, but it's not extreme. There's the chance for afternoon and evening showers and thunderstorms. That line should weaken as it approaches the coastline. Another line of showers and thunderstorms will try to fire up on Thursday. That's a cold front. Looks like drier air, less humid air will make a welcome return on Friday.
I'm Chief Meteorologist Gerard Jabali. Here's a look at the mid-Atlantic region. It looks like things are going to come up with a few showers and storms becoming a little more scattered towards your Wednesday afternoon. Good rain chances, especially all the way from Pennsylvania down ahead of this cold front. And we will continue to see those chances lingering along and just south of it for Thursday afternoon. Temperatures will still be very warm before the rain hits. Low 90s and 80s, especially as we get into the mountains. But we'll see that hot weather lingering until Thursday.
Hi, meteorologist Jennifer Collins here with your southeast forecast. Hot and humid heading into Wednesday with temperatures in the low to mid 90s across most of Florida, into the 80s for the Carolinas, and then staying hot and humid along most of the Gulf Coast in the upper 80s and low 90s for the Mississippi River Valley. Have the chance for showers and thunderstorms across most of the southeast, primarily along sea breeze boundaries along the Gulf Coast and the East Coast as well. Dry and humid through the overnight hours with more storms heading into Thursday.
You are watching the National Weather Desk.
Historic low water levels may soon be coming to Lake Mead. In just 2 years, the lake may be at the shallowest levels in recorded history. Will Silverstein is at the lake just outside Las Vegas with a look at ways this could be reversed.
We just came to see the lake and feed the fish and ducks.
Mian Han is visiting his family all the way out from South Dakota, and he's having a good time feeding the catfish at Lake Mead, but he notices the different shades of rock indicating the levels the historic lake was once at. The lake running 7 feet lower than this time in 2023 and 2024. His family says the National Recreation Area has changed a lot.
They said it's been going down since the last time they visited even.
I feel kind of bad about the level because I think they took and got it low because of California.
Unlike Han, Lynn Robert Nelson has been sailing on the lake for decades as a longtime Boulder City resident. He blames Nevada's western neighbor on the declining levels. What do you think can be done differently to get those water levels back up?
Political.
You got to remember that 40 million people use water from the Colorado River Basin.
UNLV hydrology and geoscience professor David Kramer says Nelson is referring to the 1920s era agreement known as the Colorado River Compact. Nevada, which takes water from the lower basin, received 4% of the water from that basin, while California and Arizona received the remaining 96% of the water. Kramer says for Lake Mead to rise, the agreement may need a revision.
We have to reach some sort of agreement with reduction of water. In some of the preliminary work that's been done with California, they've agreed to reduce their water usage, but how that affects individual farmers and how we go forward with that is still undetermined.
This really isn't just something where, we can hope for a little bit of rain to pull us out of this situation.
Luke Runyon from the water desk at the University of Colorado Boulder notes without revision to the compact, years of increased moisture will be needed to offset lowering levels.
It takes several years of good snows in the Rocky Mountains in order for the levels to actually make a change in these large reservoirs. They're just so massive. I mean, Lake Mead is the largest reservoir in the country.
The peak of our hurricane season is a few weeks away, but there's still time to make sure your home is prepared to withstand storms that may come our way. Meteorologist Jenna Warner recently had the opportunity to talk to a top hurricane chaser who tells us about his hurricane-resistant home along the Gulf Coast of Mississippi.
Not all hacks you've heard will actually help your home survive a hurricane. Like, leave your windows cracked to let air flow. That's actually putting your home in even more danger.
I think there's 3 things to focus on to make your house more hurricane resistant. First off is the roof, and this is the most important. If your roof stays on during a hurricane, you're gonna be okay.
Josh Morgerman, aka the Hurricane Man, chases hurricanes around the world and has seen firsthand the best and the worst construction for storm protection. It inspired him to build a hurricane-resistant house in the heart of the Gulf.
Second thing is to think about the windows and the doors, the openings. Those are the Achilles heel of your house. A lot of damage happens when you have a broken window and the wind gets inside the house and it's like a balloon.
Josh's hurricane-resistant house has a metal standing seam roof, impact glass, and composite shutters with a polycarbonate layer.
And then the third thing I think is really important is the siding on your house. And with this, I strongly recommend that you go with a fiber cement siding, which is harder and more impact resistant.
If you live near the ocean, you want to make sure your home can withstand not just the wind of a hurricane, but also the storm surge. It's important to know how high your home is above sea level. The higher, the better. From 2016 to 2024, the U.S. has experienced at least one landfalling hurricane each season. A lot of this activity has been in the Gulf, but Josh explains that this won't be the case forever.
Typically, when you look at climatology, hurricane hotspots kind of move around. Right now it's in the Gulf, but it will eventually come back to the southeast U.S. Obviously, there's Hugo Gracie in 1959. That was an intense impact on the South Carolina coast. Obviously, Hazel right before that. The 50s was an era when there were a lot of East Coast hurricanes.
That's why now is the time to check on your home's vulnerabilities, ensure your hurricane plan is up to date, and know your evacuation route.
The dog days of summer are winding down, but the heat of summer is not. With that in mind, here are some heat safety tips to keep your dog safe and healthy.
The dog days of summer encompass what is usually some of the hottest weather of the summer season. It runs from July 3rd through August 11th. So while the dog days are winding down, the heat of summer isn't. The heat can still be hazardous for us, but it also can be dangerous for our pets. And that includes the inside of your vehicle. Even on a comfortable summer day with temperatures in the mid-80s, in the sun, the inside can heat up to 104 degrees in 10 minutes and 120 degrees in just 30 minutes. And remember, some surfaces can heat up very rapidly. At 95 degrees in the sun, asphalt can warm up to 140 degrees, concrete 125 degrees, grass 105 degrees, but in the shade, grass may only be around 91 degrees. So to avoid paw burns, walk on the cooler grass in the early mornings and evening, and avoid walking during the hot afternoon sun. And finally, if you place the back of your hand on the surface you're walking for, let's say, 7 seconds, and it's uncomfortable to you, then it's probably too hot for your best friend's paws.
A company in Maine is helping local farms and residents by providing fresh and organic soil. Meteorologist Ryan Munn looks to see how your food scraps can be used for something good.
Turning food waste into compost. That's the mission of Garbage to Garden, a waste management company offering curbside composting that services Portland and the surrounding communities.
I started Garbage to Garden to make home composting easy, and we service thousands of homes, but we also service restaurants, schools, any kind of offices, even grocery stores, and events.
Each week, customers who pay a monthly service fee leave leftover food and soil products like paper plates in a bin on the curb. Garbage to Garden picks up those scraps and leaves you a clean bucket. Subscribers can also request one free bag of compost per week, which can then be used for their own organic gardening.
So you can get it back if you want to, but a lot of people don't need the compost back. They're just trying to do the right thing with their food scraps, and their food scraps are then regenerating local soils. They're used by organic farms in the area.
Nature will then run its course once the scraps are collected.
you have a pile that's big enough that gets to 131 degrees, and then you have a new kind of bacteria populate that pile that like heat, and those are the ones that really will break down the more complex materials.
The last step is to filter out any unwanted material. From there, the compost is bagged in bulk and shipped off to subscribers and local farms.
And time now for a short break, but first we soar over Florida's overseas highway to the Keys.
Good morning, I'm meteorologist Sarah Converse. A cold front is passing through parts of the Midwest, so rain showers and thunderstorms expected for the Ohio River Valley. Behind that front, we are looking at drier conditions with some sunshine, especially west of the Mississippi River. Temperatures in the 80s. And then for tonight, temperatures mainly in those 60s, though a little bit warmer over in the Ohio River Valley. Overnight lows upper 60s.
Good Wednesday morning. I'm meteorologist Joe DiCarlo. Look, your forecast across the region. We're starting off in the 70s. We'll climb into the 90s across the region this afternoon. We do have that chance of hit and miss showers or an isolated thunderstorm across a good portion of the region with the heating of the day. That will fizzle after the sun goes down. A classic summer night. And then for your Thursday, another isolated chance of a few showers or storms. Temperatures in the 90s.
Well, hi there, everybody, and a good Wednesday morning to you. I'm meteorologist Shannon O'Donnell. Finally, some sweet relief back for Seattle, Portland, and eventually Spokane. Cooler air rushing in with a strong marine push in the PNW today. That will actually increase the fire danger because it results in gusty winds in the Columbia Basin between Sun River and into the Tri-Cities. Extreme heat still in place in the desert Southwest and a few scattered showers approaching Reno. And that's the scene from here.
You are watching the National Weather Desk.
Is fog just a cloud close to the ground, or are they two different things? That's the question that we got from a viewer recently. For the answer, return to meteorologist Teresa Carter.
Both fog and clouds are formed when water vapor condenses or freezes to form tiny droplets or crystals in the air. So why are they two different things? Clouds can form at many different altitudes. They can be as high as 12 miles above sea level or as low as the ground. Fog is a kind of cloud that touches the ground and is impacted by adjacent bodies of water, wind conditions, and topography. Fog forms on clear, calm nights when the air near the ground cools enough to turn its water vapor into liquid water or ice. Although both clouds and fog consist of condensed water vapor, their primary difference lies in their altitude and resulting in impact on visibility.
And we'd love to share your weather content on the air. You can find us on all your favorite social media platforms, including Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. Just search the National Weather Desk. We'll be right back. And thank you so much for joining us. I'm Angela Brown. Make it a great day, and I'll see you right back here tomorrow.